From 9 now. Opinions over at publicaddresses.net, the hard news blog there. Also Media 7 show, TVNZ7. Russell Brown with us this morning. Morning, Russell.
Good morning.
Fresh from the Gone by Christmas event benefiting John Stevenson, heading back over to Afghanistan last night.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good crowd there, and some funny antics on stage as well to raise some money.
From the twisted mind of Jose Barbosa.
But really lovely to see John Stevenson, and I know he feels a little bit bashful about it, I suppose, because he does all his work behind the scenes, and it's very much a lonely pursuit, his type of journalism. But to be out there in front of everyone talking about it was really cool.
Yeah, quite. He's not a show pony like you and me, is he?
No, exactly.
No, I think that was the nicest thing about it, was that it brought together a group of people who stand behind John's work.
Yeah. And
I think John appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was quite good fun too.
Yes, and we look forward to reading some of his work next year when it comes out. And of course, then you went home and could hear the remnants of Foo Fighters.
Yes, yeah. Heard the crowd louder than anything else, frankly. That was quite remarkable. I'm not, to be honest, standing in the rain listening to the Foo Fighters is not my idea of a good time. No. But it was quite sweet sitting there with the office door open at home, and and hearing people sing along.
And it seems to me that the systems they have there are even bigger than the ones that they used to have at the Big Day Out.
Oh yeah, Big Day Out PA is not actually a particularly large one.
No.
Whereas if you're selling a premium show like that, then you are expected to bring in some pretty major production.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever seen a band at Mount Smart Stadium, like, say, U2, the difference between a U2 show at Mount Smart Stadium and a Big Day Out headliner in terms of production is significant.
Just huge. And isn't it good in this day and age where, with the resource consents and people being able to make noise complaints, that you can still have a big event like that on?
Yeah. There's a limited number of concerts allowed per year. And I've got some sympathy with limiting it, because I'm in Point Chev, and particularly at this time of year with the northeast wind, you're going to get quite a lot of noise, even a kilometre or two away. Yeah. But I have to say it's more interesting to listen to from a distance than the speedway is.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, well, on to the big news yesterday, of course, David Shearer took out the leadership of the Labour Party.
Yes, as widely predicted, it must be said. I think, to me, I thought the thing that counted against David Cunliffe, even though he's clearly very smart, was that he had alienated so many other members of his caucus, it seemed, which I don't think spoke well of his ability to unite the party. So, in the end, it doesn't seem like it was a great surprise. I would have to say that David Shearer, all the potential in the world, but certainly needs some work.
Yeah, some media training?
Yeah, some media training, just to actually work out what he wants to say. Sometimes he really didn't seem to have a lot to say in the interviews after taking the job. Although,
interesting though, he came out and was immediately cutting the Green Party's lunch by saying we're going to be a clean, green, clever place to live.
Yeah, and I actually think that's sort of dangerous for him in a couple of ways. One in that they don't necessarily want to be driving all over the territory of a potential coalition partner, but the other, and that they've been saying this for a long time, and Green Party leaders are going to have more to say than he currently does about the idea of a clean, green, clever New Zealand. So, nice idea, but they need something that distinguishes them a bit better than that, I think.
Isn't it funny, though, that everyone seems to be talking about David Shearer in terms of, well, it's kind of a given now that he's going to be Prime Minister in 2014.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
No?
No, I think he's got a wee way yet. I think he's a good choice, and I've met him several times. He's our local MP in Mount Albert. It'd be yours too, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And I think he's an outstanding local MP. His response to taking on that job, I think, has been superb. He's just very good on the local level. The assumption is, I guess, that he will be able to step up quickly enough to take on that senior leadership role.
Yeah.
And he's clearly got the leadership skills. It's probably just his presentation.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that can be
interesting.
fixed.
I have to say, the discussions on public address about this they have not been our usual well-mannered, respectful discussions. People have gotten quite, snitty.
And this is
on either side.
Yeah, on either side of the Cunliffe Shearer.
Yeah. Key thing. Our highly valued blogger normally sticks to the facts. He wrote a rather scathing thing about David Cunliffe.
Yeah.
Which set the tone for a rather snitty. I've just been sitting here watching it, going, "God, can't everyone just get along?"
Yeah. Yeah, especially infighting is the worst.
Yeah, I think, and that's actually probably a keynote for them now. And they're making all the right noises about that, about uniting behind the leader that's chosen, and because the electors will, as is often said, punish disunity.
Yeah, something you're covering on the Media 7 show this week is the Law Commission's report on new media regulation.
Yeah, which is actually quite an interesting paper. I recommend people read it actually, or even just the summary. Particularly given that it came out of, pretty much a brain fart from Simon Power, the former Justice Minister, who, basically framed it as calling for a review of options for reining in the Wild West out there in cyberspace, and did so in such an incredibly, wholly negative way that you could see that people were thinking, oh, okay, so he's going to crack down on bloggers. What's actually emerged from the Law Commission, who were tasked with the report, is something much more nuanced, and it actually talks as much about the rights of the news media as responsibilities. What it proposes is an overall single media regulator that is independent of its industry, but also independent of government. And I think this is the big kahuna that people haven't quite spotted. Is that it's calling for the abolition of the Broadcasting Standards Authority. I don't think there's a broadcaster in the country who would shed any tears. Yeah. Because amongst people who make radio and television, the BSA is often seen as out of touch. Yeah. But it's pretty interesting that the Law Commission has taken its report to that place. It does have a point. Basically, the same video that would be regulated potentially by the BSA to broadcasting standards can be considered if it's on air, not if it's on a website. So we were running into these kind of law needs updating situations.
Right. So there'll be one law for all in that scenario.
Yeah. And what they propose with bloggers in both their scenarios is that it would pretty much be voluntary. And I would certainly consider signing up to it and putting the badge on the page at public address.
But what is it?
Well, it's good for branding. Yeah. And it just shows a commitment to standards. I do think some other bloggers who quite like the idea of it, say whale oil, haven't quite grasped that if they do make themselves accountable to this regulator, they're actually going to have to change what they do.
But what does it mean?
Just in terms of fairness and accuracy.
But does it mean that your blog is a news source?
There's a fairly long and complex definition of... It doesn't actually have to be news reporting. And they acknowledge that the idea of balance isn't particularly useful in the case of blogs, where people are providing analysis or commentary or even just a simple polemic. So I think they've recognised that it's silly to ask blogs to be balanced. But if they are unfair or inaccurate or even defamatory, that there is a legal remedy for defamation, but that's an ordeal. And the idea, I guess, is that people will have some recourse without having to go to court. It's just. But I do think say if Kiwiblog joined, the interesting thing there, of course, is that everything on that site is the responsibility of the owner of the blog, including the comments.
And so, but the benefits of you signing up, does that mean that you get access to certain information that other news organisations have?
You can. There are exceptions under the Privacy Act, under the Fair Trading Act, most of which I don't think most journalists knew about, but when you look at them, they're actually quite important. Yeah. If you make, for instance, if you make a bad prediction in a newspaper, you can't be sued under the Fair Trading Act. Right. They're more important than you would think. But yeah, I quite like the idea of it because, in terms of the members of the public needed some sort of recourse about things that might be said about them, and I think what the Law Commission has proposed is a bit more nuanced than what might have happened.
But you could also choose, let's say you were a video blogger or something along those lines, you could choose not to be part of this.
Yeah, quite easily,
and still be
and life would probably not change at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, new Broadcasting Minister Craig Foss.
Yeah, I was just reading Craig Foss's. Well, tip for you and the listeners: if you really want to find out what a politician that you haven't heard of is about, just type their name and the words "maiden speech" into Google, and that's the speech they give when they first arrive in Parliament,
right.
And they're often quite revealing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're revealing because they're so bad.
Or naive.
Yeah. And Craig Foss is a former investment banker, and he's pretty much your archetypal middle-aged national guy in a suit. I really, really do not expect him to have any particular love for public broadcasting in this role. He's never said anything about broadcasting before, shown no apparent interest. I certainly don't expect him to countenance any form of regulation. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd just like to say that, I, for one, welcome our new broadcasting overlord, but...
Yeah, it just shows the...
But, it's a slightly depressing choice. I mean, because there was an expectation that the new minister might be Chris Finlayson, who, I think does have, a broader cultural understanding. But he got Attorney General, so... Yeah, we get Craig Foss.
Yeah, well, it just shows the emphasis and importance that they're placing on that portfolio.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it shows. I mean, Foss was brought in June with those first little portfolios that they give someone who's probably about due to be a minister, racing and senior citizens, and there's another couple as well. And I think you would have to conclude that National sees broadcasting in that same category of little portfolios that you give to someone just because they should be a minister.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Russell Brown, thanks very much.
Righto.
Cheers. Publicaddress.net is the website, the Hard News blog there, Media 7 Show, TVZ7, screening on Thursday evenings as well.